Hey look! A Gen Z watching us right now. Such a pleasure. Yeah, we want to know about you today. So stay focused, bring your favorite snack or drink because we are so close to what? Yes, talk about you. Right now is all about you. Welcome to Café Web TV. Move over millennials, there's a new generation in town, Gen Z. Born between the mid-1990s and early 2010s, this tech-savvy and socially conscious group of young people is taking the world by storm. With a passion for innovation, a desire for authenticity, and a commitment to making a difference, Gen Z is shaking up traditional norms and paving the way for a brighter future. Get ready to meet the generation that's not afraid to speak their minds, challenge the status quo, and make their mark on the world. Gen Z. What is a generation? No doubt you're already familiar with the concept of generation within families. But each of them also belongs to a diffuse category of their peers, grouped together based on when they were born and what they experienced during their lives. Social scientists have studied generations, in theory and more practically, for millennia. Also, generational change is the engine behind social change. More specifically, each generation entering into a new life stage at more or less the same time is the pulse that creates the history of a society. Specific major-scale events can also shape the outlook of a generation and are often reflected in how they're named. The Lost Generation, for example, is named for the malaise and disillusionment experienced by people who lived through World War I. Later, the Greatest Generation was named for the heroic sacrifice many made during World War II. Their children, born soon after the war ended, are called baby boomers. Their outlook, in turn, was colored by the Vietnam War and the social upheavals of the 1960s. More recently, millennials' worldviews have been shaped by the September 11th attacks and the proliferation of the Internet. Of course, these are generalizations. Every so-called generation comprises a multitude of unique individuals with their own opinions, values, behaviors, and plans for the future. Practice of studying generations can distract what motivates people on an individual level. What is Gen Z? Gen Z is currently the second youngest generation, with millennials before and Generation Alpha after. Like every generation, Gen Z's behaviors are shaped by how they grew up. Young people today have come of age in the shadow of climate doom, pandemic lockdowns, and fears of economic collapse. The first Gen Zers were born when the Internet had just achieved widespread use. Gen Z is often characterized as being digital natives who have grown up with technology and social media as an integral part of their lives. They are highly connected and value instant communication and information access. They are also known for their entrepreneurial spirit, creativity, and desire for authenticity. Unlike previous generations, Gen Z is more diverse and inclusive, with a greater acceptance of different cultures, lifestyles, and identities. They are also more socially conscious and environmentally aware, with a strong desire to make a positive impact on the world. In terms of education and career, Gen Z is focused on gaining practical skills and experiences that will help them succeed in the modern economy. They value flexibility, work-life balance, and the ability to work remotely. Globally, Gen Z is growing fast. Gen Zers will make up a quarter of the population of the Asia-Pacific region by 2025. What is unique about Gen Z? There are several unique characteristics that define Gen Z. Firstly, they are highly connected and value instant communication and access to information. Gen Z is also known for their entrepreneurial spirit, creativity, and desire for authenticity. They are not content with simply following the status quo but seek to create their own paths and innovate in various fields. This is reflected in the rise of young entrepreneurs and influencers who have gained significant followings on social media platforms. Another defining characteristic of Gen Z is their diversity and inclusivity. They are more accepting of different cultures, lifestyles, and identities than previous generations, and this is reflected in their attitudes towards issues such as race, gender, and sexuality. They are also more socially conscious and environmentally aware, with a strong desire to make a positive impact on the world. In terms of education and career, Gen Z is focused on gaining practical skills and experiences that will help them succeed in the modern economy. They value flexibility, work-life balance, and the ability to work remotely. This is reflected in the rise of alternative forms of education such as online learning and vocational training. The difference between Gen Z and millennials? The terms Gen Z and millennials are often used interchangeably to describe young people, but in reality, they are two distinct generations with their own unique characteristics. One major difference between the two generations is their relationship with technology. While both are comfortable using digital devices and platforms, Gen Z has never known a world without them. They are more likely to use social media for communication and self-expression, while millennials tend to use it more for networking and professional purposes. Another difference is their attitudes towards work and career. Millennials are often criticized for being entitled and job hopping, but they are also known for seeking meaningful work that aligns with their values. Gen Z is just entering the workforce, but early studies suggest that they are even more interested in purpose-driven careers than their predecessors. Both Gen Z and millennials are important demographic groups with significant influence on culture, politics, and the economy. Understanding their differences can help businesses and organizations better connect with these generations and meet their needs. What are Gen Z's values? Gen Z is a generation that values diversity, inclusivity, and social justice. They are passionate about creating a better world and are not afraid to speak up about issues that matter to them. They prioritize authenticity and transparency in relationships and expect the same from the brands they support. Gen Z also places a high value on personal growth and self-improvement, with a focus on mental health and mindfulness. They are entrepreneurial and innovative, with a willingness to take risks and try new things. Climate change is one of the issues Gen Zers care about most. They frequently call for reform on personal, public, and global scales to prevent future catastrophe. Many Gen Zers describe themselves as environmentally conscious, and the majority of Gen Z expects to see sustainability commitments from companies and organizations. Overall, Gen Z values making a positive impact on the world, both individually and collectively. What are Gen Z fashion trends? Gen Z loves expressive clothes, wants to stand out rather than fit in, and has an ever-changing style. What was in a month ago might already be out today. Their trend-chasing habits are supported by fast fashion retailers supplying accessible ways to switch it up. One of the Gen Z staples shop is Chinese fast fashion. This may seem at odds with the generation's values of sustainability, but the speed at which Gen Z trends change and their desire for unique style can sometimes overcome their eco-scruples. Gen Zers also love thrifting and vintage styles, which are much more in line with their calls for circular fashion. Both 90s and Y2K style clothes have seen a major comeback, including fast fashion dupes and clothes dug out of closets and thrift stores. Fashion resale has experienced massive growth thanks to Gen Z resellers and influencers, and it's normal for a Gen Z wardrobe to be a mix of cheap fast fashion and treasured vintage pieces. Right now we are at the end of the journey to understanding the great Generation Z. So Gen Z is a generation that is defined by their digital nativism, entrepreneurial spirit, diversity and inclusivity, and social consciousness. They are shaping the future with their unique perspectives and values, and their impact on society is sure to be significant. As we continue to learn more about this generation, it is clear that they are poised to make a positive impact on the world in many different ways. Okay, we are at the end. Hope you enjoyed your time with us. Want to get information about other generations? Don't miss Café Web TV.